Good morning, everybody. So, after yesterday, I thought things would be a little more bullish this morning, but we are still within this trading range. And I don't think we're going to get out of it until this latter part of the week when we get some economic news. I'll show you why. So, starting here, as we do, S&P's pretty much unchanged, give or take a little bit. You can see the spiders here where they're at. But they're buyers on the dip. It dipped down there in the middle of yesterday's range, popped back up. So staying at the top of the range, that's a positive. And let's take a peek at the futures here. And what we have, what Dan has coined many years ago, a bear sandwich. So this encompasses 24-hour data, as you know, for the futures. And so we had this up day, big down day, big up day, and historically that results in moving higher. Now we got to see if it does, because if it doesn't, and if we were to have a down day today, then we call that a Christmas tree pattern: green, red, and just chopping. Now, the ranges have gotten bigger. Notice here, after the wide range bar, how tight it was, grinding up. And that tends to be bullish when the ranges are tight like that and it's grinding. And then when the range is expanded, it held this level, but it starts to display uncertainty. And most of the time, it has to tighten up again. So that could be what we might be looking for today, to see if we get like a narrower range at the top of yesterday's range, where that might lead to a move up. So we're in wait and see mode again. And why, I put on the slide there summer doldrums in October. It's just things are not going anywhere. And just point out here, we had this sharp move and we had to spike down before it went up. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen here, but you can see this got kind of whippy. This is whippy, but so far we're just running in place in a wider range until something gives. Oh, yesterday spoke about, well, the day before yesterday and yesterday was, hey, if the transports could lift off of this support, that would be a plus. They did a little bit, nothing of great significance, but it was something. We talked about if interest rates would begin to pull back, and the markets have held up pretty well while they've gone up. They haven't pulled back yet. They're just kind of sitting here waiting. That's a positive. But if they could pull back a little bit while the transports went up, and in addition to our scenario of market going up, would be oil coming down from this pivot high, which it collapsed. Well, collapsed in big wide range bar down. And so it's down a little bit this morning inside day. So, but markets are just sitting here doing nothing. So they have this opportunity to go up, kind of not really taking it. Well, sort of did yesterday. We got to see if there's any follow through today. We see oil pulling back here as I speak. Now, this is interesting because it changes day to day. Sometimes, it doesn't always change, but when it changes, it's interesting. So what's happened here, so these numbers are where I've marked off big open interest in these strikes, and they weren't there yesterday. And so after this range, we've got this big bets that if it breaks here, it'll drive down, and that's at yesterday's low, 15 and 20. And up above here at 70, 75, 75, this big open interest that it's going to go up. Remember, these expire today. And here, look at the data. Let's go here. Here, 15 and 20. This is what it was the day before yesterday. And it exploded, from like give or take 1,000 to 12,000. You can see the numbers there at these two strikes. So that's a huge, you know, bets there about, this going down. And of course, if they make those bets, they believe it's going to continue to go down and profit from that. So we're going to see if it spikes down there, does it spike back up again, or does it hang? If it goes down there and it hangs for 20, 30 minutes or so, that opens up the door to breaking lower. Where, we got a bullish day today, which, a turnaround day yesterday was good. And if it goes up, there's this big open interest. And let's just look here. Look at where it was, 75 and 80, 1,000, 2,000, give or take, and it explodes higher. So big bets that it's going to go up. So we've kind of, again, we've got this trading range and we've got this standoff with bullish and bearish bets. Who's going to blink? Which way is it going to go? Well, we're going to watch this today and see how it unfolds. That's where we're at. And maybe it'll just be another day where it bounces back and forth, ping pongs, and in a range until the news comes out. So, we've got these lines in the sand above and below, not too far away. So, we'll keep it in mind. It's good information to know that there's these big bets up there and down here. And if they get down there, we'll be watching the reaction very closely, whether it bounces off or whether it just hangs there or not. So keep that in mind. And the other lines are the outside strikes, where typically they're not going to go to. Right? And probably not, because you've got these forces above that put strike and below that put strike, and they're probably not going to get through one or the other today. So, all right, looking around, others. We looked at interest rates. NASDAQ futures not really doing much here, but the bear sandwich. So far, just an inside day, not going anywhere. Futures buying the dip, little narrow range, bottoming tail bars on the weekly. This week's far from over, but you got a kind of a correction bar there. Last week where it broke the prior low and it came back up again. But so far, just running in place. You see the close, the close, the close. Nothing's happening here. Commission generators, or you better be nimble. And the Dow underperformed, didn't turn all the way back up, but just chopping back and forth, back and forth. Kind of boring, but, it is what it is. At some point, it's going to give. Russell futures, little narrow day yesterday, came off of the low. They're still buying the dip, waiting. Semiconductors, it's kind of the key here. And, they're starting to reach this resistance area, and which would suggest they're going to stall. You can see my cursor there. And I look at that as kind of burning some of the gas in the tank, so to speak, in that here was this scenario, this hook pattern that we've been discussing, and this is, moved its way up where to an area where we know sellers are going to be, and if it pushes above there, it could be a greater than 100% retracement where it pushes higher before it stalls. But this is one of the bullish forces that could have propelled the market, and the market isn't utilizing it. This is TSM. This is gapping up here a little bit toward that resistance area. And we'll see how, that reacts. It was positive news, and that's going up. And, we've got financials not doing much of anything. It's kind of the same no matter where we look, pretty much. Technology, coming up to that resistance area. Not doing much here this morning. So, China, collapsing. Right? So there was that big stimulus thing, and it collapses yesterday, and it's down bit again here today. So you got all this enthusiasm about their stimulus ripping higher and then collapse. So far, our markets are holding up. Bitcoin not doing much of anything. It's the same thing. Gold is pulling back here a little bit. Still in an uptrend. It's correcting, coming down to minor support. Not a big deal. That looks good. On the other hand, we got silver. Had a bit of a nasty day yesterday. But it was at the top of the range. And so that's a big reaction, which isn't positive, but gold still looks okay. Maybe it'll be fine. We looked at oil already. Still, coming down. The Middle East is chaotic. Who knows? Iran now involved. And that's really something that could really trigger something nasty. You know, who shoots off what bomb or who's got their finger on something nuclear. Let's just hope for something good. Internals, breath is, down here at a positive level. Sentiment is not. And equity, put call, neutral. So no useful information from there to guide us. Um, yeah, I mean, it's going to be the same no matter where we look. Just a lot of sideways movement, but after a momentum move. So at what point do we have enough consolidation of the gain before things presumably could go higher? Maybe again, we have this economic news coming out in the latter part of the week, well, Thursday. So today's FOMC minutes at 2:00. Maybe that gets things moving in some way. There's some oil, gasoline numbers coming out at 10:30. So, keep that in mind. And yeah, we looked at financials. Kind of like how much, as we look around, looking at the same things, coming to the same conclusion. And what do we do with that? Is to accept what is and keep our biases in line with whatever we're looking at. Um, regional banks not really doing too much here. At the bottom of the range. Um, and the dollar's been ripping in the face of those interest rates coming down, and they flipped up. And you see how the euro has collapsed. It's down here on some support, but it's kind of it's just sometimes counterintuitive, interesting that we look at this drop, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. It's like, here's this drop in short-term interest rates, collapsing, and everybody was expecting the rate cut, which we got, and now they're stabilizing. A little W pattern there, and look at the climactic buy setup on here, which is, what does that suggest? Well, it definitely suggests half a point isn't happening, and if this continues to move up, it could mean that a quarter point isn't even going to happen. There's been some talk of that, and as we look at the dollar, I'm looking for where I put that symbol. I just type it in to save some time. It's just ripped up. Well, those short-term interest rates were coming down. Look at the size of that weekly bar. So, well, here's something that could be counterintuitive as to, now that oil is dropping, but maybe this turns into a W pattern, and these airlines that have been so strong, we see some weakness in them in the face of oil now dropping, which is like, why now? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way markets work sometimes, where it doesn't make, sense as we think, but the pattern here is supportive of this potentially becoming a M top. So we'll take a peek at some of these airline stocks to see if they might show some weakness. Lastly, before I hand it over to Dan, energy pulled back with crude oil, and it's down here a little bit. So, we got a lot of chop going on, uncertainty, interest rate cuts, Middle East, election coming, 28 days or 27 days, whatever it is. So, yeah, sit on the sidelines a little bit, always be selective, proper money management, and keep the powder dry until we get some clear signals. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. So, Greg, today's MT Live, relative strength weakness, and what the market's been doing, going sideways, buying the dips when we originally got the bearish internals was relative strength. It's not going down. And that bottoming tail on the weekly. So when I did the video last night, Qs looked the best to me. Like, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 6 bar turn with a closing breakout. So that, we'll start off with a put spread. You can see that bottoming tail on the weekly. Other alarms here, IGV. We bought a half lot yesterday. Shop is on our radar from yesterday. I have an alarm at 8305. Nice little continuation pattern. AMD, we have a put spread. I tightened the stop. That looks good. T-Tech, we bought yesterday. My up alarm went off. That looks good. GNRC, we bought a third lot core long, and I filled the 160 puts or 165, I forget. So that's gapping up. Vittle, we bought yesterday, up alarm. So even though the market may not be interesting, we find trades every single day. Those are my alarms. A couple earnings here, not many. Healy, wow, that's a monster gap. But it's too big for me. Not only is it too big, just the percentage, but you can see pre-market, it accelerated even. But there's no way I would buy that. Burn had earnings down a little, sloppy. SAR, light volume gapping up to 25. Put spread if there's anything down there. And that's it. These are just miscellaneous things now. Look at wow, look at the volume yesterday on this igniting bar. Let's see how it sets up in the first 30 minutes. Crowd we're in. Up alarm went off. What, Alex, it just shocks me how they don't pay much attention to the deficit either. Well, Fox News is today because the guy came out and said, yeah, 1.8 trillion deficit this year. I mean, do people understand what the deficit is? It's exactly because they don't, nobody cares about it. It's they're spending 1.8 trillion more than they take in. How on earth could a any business or even person run a business like that? It's crazy. All right, what else? Well, Hood blasted yesterday, and I saw on the news that that some guy over here was they're talking about hiring him with the SEC. So I don't know if that is what caused this move yesterday, thinking that if they get a crypto friendly person at the SEC, then these things will move more. Boeing, they said they're not doing very well with the strike negotiations, and I think they got their debt downgraded. So look at this pre-market. If this cannot, um, where is it on here? Well, it's still giving it this support, but if this chops around for 30 minutes and can't bounce, then that's gonna be a day trade short under the low. Cyber, we also entered half lot yesterday, gapping down a little. Mer, Alex gave us yesterday. I posted that as buying puts under the low, buying the $10 puts for next week. Gil is just strong as can be. Look at this 20 above the 50. Nice, just again, relative strength that we're going to be talking about today. Look at this consolidation, and just compared to IWM or diamonds or whatever. This thing's been weaker, and that thing is going sideways. I know that the US has that beautiful advantage of being the currency standard. And there's a lot of other countries that are, planning because they don't like that. All right, Zulu Sierra closing breakout, 30-minute high. This could be a good put spread for Friday. So today being Wednesday, we only have 2 nights of overnight risk. So the 170s, they're only 45 cents. So that's not enough unless we went up to next week. Igniting breakout, closing breakout, GDYN, bullish weekly monthly. That looks great. So that's a big bar yesterday. And it was rallying all day. So that's not a good entry. But if it pulls back, gives us a 1, 2, 3, 15-minute buy setup, that looks great, all time frames. Upstart alarm just went off. Another one. I'm not sure about the target, but it's a nice stabilization. Nice place to enter. I'll check puts on that also. Short inputs. Netflix was relative strength. Let me set an alarm on this. Now, I like when they gap down a lot. Set an alarm at 7:23. Because then if they don't recover, it's no sweat off our back. But if they do recover, then that makes the pattern better because they negated the small gap down. TTD leading shorter to put spread yesterday. Walmart, a bear 1, 2, 3 from a topping pattern. And again, it's up. Had this little end of day rally. So it has to trigger under these lows or no trade. Cyber, we talked about. RCAT, it's an over-the-counter stock, but closing breakout. Oh, my buddy gave me last night this whiskey. And I posted it in Telegram, an igniting bar. Look at that volume. And wow, look at that percent gap up today. So had anybody bought that into the close, that's a big percent up. Chewy, a little downside shakeout, gapping up. This would be a good put spread idea. Buy setup weekly. Citigroup breakout over yesterday's high, has earnings next week, but it could be a pre, a run into earnings. A firm. This was on my list yesterday, the gap up from this buy setup, but I didn't like the way it came in so hard. So I kind of ignored it. And now it's gapping up again. So I posted a put spread. WBA bottoming pattern. We sold the $9 puts yesterday. Whereas if we take assignment, we have cost and cost basis improvement. APD, that's a pro gap. And I'm watching this to see if it can just chop around for a week and give us a better entry. RPD, if it gets over Friday's high, then it's a buy setup following this 180 reversal. Nitro was on our list yesterday and it got really wild in the morning, but still a closing breakout. I have an alarm at 133, semis, and a flat here. So, just by looking at that, again, today's session, if I just tell you without even looking at a chart, just conceptually, AMD is gapping up $2 and SMHs are flat. And the answer is relative strength, whatever's going on in AMD today. AMD, we have what spread I mentioned. Yeah. Oh, Baba looks like a day trade short, 10, 15, 30-minute low, whatever. We were watching these for a week. The whole Chinese sector, KWeb, Asher, FXI, all the individual stocks. We said this rocket ship will turn. I guarantee you it's going to turn. It's just a matter of when and how. So, they kind of just went into a coma yesterday, but now with today's gap down, we can consider these again, both for shorts and call spreads now, because now at least we have a day here where you got a definitive stop. So if we were to enter this hypothetically on an intraday setup, my stop is going to be right over there, over 110. All right, so KWeb, Humana, we shorted the 220 put spreads. JD gap down, but actually buyers are stepping up on that. Wolf bottoming pattern. I got an alarm at 980. Yeah, that's the whole sector here. All right, so that's my entire list. Oh, Google, I forgot to mention. The DOJ is talking about wanting to split them up. All right, TTD up alarm. We have a put spread. So I'll just raise the alarm to 116. RTX. Okay, this is a low alarm. We're long this. I guess military is getting tired. Yeah, 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 maybe a 5-minute high. Yeah, I know you were watching this for a while, and I haven't been comfortable with the turn yet with these overlapping bars right here. But now we have Monday's red bar ignored. So that's better now. Look at Boeing. I mentioned Boeing could be a short, but that just tanked. Look at that. See that pre-market? I said if it can go sideways for 5, 10, 15 minutes, then short the low. Well, guess what? They didn't wait for us. Yeah, things are getting sloppy here, even on bullish setups that I was watching. They're slopping around like AMD just got whacked. Um, let's see our GNRC. All right, so yeah, I got the 165 puts. I'm at over 50% of max profit, so I'm gonna bid for some. AD line negative again. BHC, there's a breakout failure. Breakout failure. You know, there's no way to avoid them. So we were in this, stop 798, so we're out. C, Charlie is triggering. I always want to, see what the sector's doing. So this is doing absolutely nothing. And our city triggered. So I would feel a lot better if the XLF was breaking out. Yeah, SMH is now down 60 cents, so that had a roadblock too. Oh, did it trigger? No, it didn't trigger yet, Brent, because my alarm didn't go off. That's why I took a double take. But it has to trade over yesterday's high first. And then, so see, I can tell it didn't trade over it. But if you're in it, I think it's, well, it didn't trigger. And I'm not liking the first 5 minutes of the market action. So, you should only be down penny or two. So I'm not sure what to tell you on managing. So Sierra, yeah, that was on the list. Horn, yeah. All right, Affirm. Let's hold off because of the gap. Netflix up alarm. Crowd up alarm. So we're long crowd. Let's see at what number? 289. Oh, so we have a nice open game now. I think that might have been first target. Let me look. No, it's no, we have a full lot. So
UPS above today's high could be a go. Little hook pattern there. If you're more aggressive, if fills the gap or makes a turn here. Setting an alert on MATX. We can get back up near yesterday's high.
I'm getting more alarms here. FDN up alarm. So there's some relative strength. This thing's rallying while the market's
Apricot.
coming in. We have naked puts on this.
No, it's trading range. Coming out of the range. It's early. I looked yesterday. There wasn't enough premium, but maybe you want to go out to next week then.
And what?
Snow. Snowflake.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like because of that little downside shakeout. MU low alarm. Snow. There's even juice at 113 for Friday. And then we can roll it. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Earnings 1127. Get shop there, middle chart is rocking. Yeah, the problem is the stop on this. Next week also. Next week we can do 110, 105. That's 67, 70. I'm going to do that.
Hyatt, symbol H. See if it holds here. Pull back to the 20. It's resting on the 20. Interesting. Cruise lines going up. Actually, CRL gapped up. Could be a call spread.
Wow.
RCL, not CRL. RCL.
And I got a feeling that snow for next week. I did.
Chewy going up.
Your Chewy is moving.
That's what I said.
Yeah, yeah. That was a nice continuation gap there from yesterday's base. Hey, Ron.
ANF not doing anything. Let's see.
Yeah, that thing bit us twice. Once here, once there. Netflix, put spread idea. $705 Friday. Do the 700. $5 wide, 50 cents. Yeah, let's do it. I've been getting these tornado warnings all morning. Actually, let's make that 60.
I haven't looked into that, Don. I don't know how much rain. Probably a lot. The way the outer circle looks, probably going to be a lot.
Wolf, bottoming pattern alarm. RPD alarm. PD. It's an early alarm, but that's a put spread over Friday's high. And what did I say? Wolf bottoming pattern. See if it can close strong. Yeah, it's already posted, Alex, in the ETF letter. But yeah, looks great. I'm short the 210 puts myself. But yeah, it triggered in our ETF letter. Triggered in our ETF letter.
Financials are doing well today, holding the S&P. Google and Meta starting to drop. Tesla down. Only 5-minute charts with Nvidia.
I removed that. IAI, new high. That's great. This market from yesterday. So actually a buy setup on the hourly. Yeah, 50 crossing the 200, yeah. MU, our put spread stopped out. Oh, still in the direction. Right, Charlie is moving with the sector now, and that's what I said earlier. I wish the sector was moving, but no, it is. Intel 123 if closes like this. Square, we did a put spread yesterday, courtesy of Sammy Boy. Uber put spread doing well. 75, 40. Hold on. I've been busy here this morning. 7260. 0.23. So I said half at 25, so we're out of half. Yeah, it's warnings I keep getting.
It's amazing. No one is talking about IBM. That's like the new NVIDIA.
IBM.
Look at it.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about a call spread on this red bar day. But man, kind of reminds me of GE when that thing got in the power up trend. Huge sweep here.
Yeah. Look at Google and Meta and Tesla.
Yeah.
So far, Apple's holding up. Nvidia, financials are strong. SMH is a weak. Qs aren't going anywhere. Well, not going up, but maybe those others start to bounce. It might. EMN, that's a buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice buy setup with bottoming tail, your favorite.
Jumped up a bit, maybe comes in a little, but stop under today's low.
I was going to give yesterday.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a wide bar. I wouldn't want to see it maybe under 108. I think would be enough. WM,
Who?
IWM, strong. KRE. I mean, it's nothing on the daily chart, but shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
I bought some yesterday. TNA. We'll see. Some H is coming back.
Man, I'm sick of these alarms. How many times you gotta tell me?
Well, what, Dan?
And every friggin' 2 minutes, I'm getting tornado warnings on the TV. How many times you gotta tell me? I keep muting it.
I didn't get it.
Well, that's because you don't have a solid cable company like I do.
Oh, I know someone in Sarasota. They're expecting to get hit harder than Tampa.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, I personally would wait for the afternoon on that pattern myself. MTNX. Top of the range up a lot. I would rather it go sideways a little, John, but I do like overall daily, weekly, monthly. 100% retracement.
XLK, new high.
Yeah, yeah. We're in the queues and in the ETF letter, and I also gave it as a put spread, which hasn't triggered yesterday's high yet. But AD line, yeah, went from that negative 500 to positive 500. Drop still looks good. Netflix holding, we did a put spread on that. Yeah, let me post those. I didn't yet. This is old.
DCL looks great. Just picking out top of the range. $20, maybe a stall point. There's a pivot right where it is now from last December. So, but it looks good.
So also, no, that wasn't 30 cents. That's wrong. It was, no, it was 60. So we sold it for 60. So do not do it for 30. It's not worth the risk. And SMA for actually a target. So we're out of that put spread. And, Yeah, continuation breakout. I forget. Warning on the TV. It's like every 5 minutes. Annoying. Yeah, we talked about that when I was hoping it would pull back, but it looks great. Sammy boy, he's got a share size of look to add on a pullback. Looks great.